What's up, guys? So here are my predictions for a UFC fight night happening in Utica, New York. Now, this caught me off guard. I thought this was on a Saturday, but I just looked at it today and I found out it was on a Friday. So, as you guys all know, I put out my prediction videos 2 days before the fights. The whole hook video, technique video, I'm gonna have to upload that on another day. And this whole thing with Bisping retiring, I'm deciding on doing a legacy video for him. So when we look at this card, it's actually a pretty good card. Good matchups, fun matchups especially. If you want just exciting fights, do not miss this card. And we're going to start with Nick Lentz versus David Tamra. Grappler versus striker match. Nick Lentz, rough and tough, in-your-face kind of a fighter. Always looking for those takedowns. Uses top pressuring wrestling style. Even his BJJ is pretty nice. Good submissions on top. Good pressure. Good cardio to go with it. And he's excellent with transitioning as well. But the biggest thing here is, how is he going to fare with the striking of David Tamra? Because Nick Lentz, let's be honest, is not that technical on the feet. He's pretty slow. He's not that powerful. He marches down in obvious patterns. He likes to just bum rush sometimes off of, let's say, a jab or something like that. And all this stuff is perfect for Tamra. Tamra is an excellent counter striker. The speed that he has. I mean, I don't know if you guys understand how much faster he's going to be than Nick Lentz. The speed difference in this fight is going to be bigger than most fights you'll ever see in MMA. David Tamra is so explosive. He has excellent kicks, dynamic kicks. His Superman punches are excellent. His spinning back kicks are excellent. He'll set them up behind his punches. All those punches could get a little bit wild, but his footwork and his distance compensates for that. I mean, he's so fast with his feet, and that's the biggest thing for takedown defense. Now, David Tamra is hard to take down as it is, but his footwork and his movements make it that much harder to do so. That is the first phase of takedown defense, just not being there in the first place. And he has excellent cardio, man. For his style, it's very shocking to see how he can just keep going throughout every round doing the same thing. But the biggest thing here is his counter striking. He is so fast to counter opponents. He'll throw down that lunging right hand off the opponent's jab and he'll beat them to the next punch. That is how much faster he is than most of his opponents in the past. My prediction for this fight, I'm going to go with David Tamra. I'm going to go by a decision. I see Nick Lentz being tough. I can see him being knocked down from a counter or something like that, but I think David Tamra is going to try to draw him into high kicks. So then we go to Sijara Eubanks versus Lauren Murphy. Now this is a very important fight for the flyweight division, very young division. You got Sijara Eubanks, the most experienced BJJ artist in this entire division by far. 5-time IBJJF champion under the black belt level. 3-time IBJJF world medalist at black belt. 3-time Pan American champion at lower belts. So you got some experience here, and it really translates to MMA. Not the best, but it does translate. If she can get it to the ground, especially if she's on top, good luck. Because she is so pressure heavy, breaking opponents with the pressure, finding submissions through that. She is excellent with softening them up with ground and pound. If you want to compare BJJ to anybody in the UFC, you could compare hers to Damian Maia to an extent. Very similar style there. But even off her back, she's so dangerous. She's good with reversal. She's so good at breaking the posture of the opponent. But how is she on the feet? She is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. And the big thing for that is coming off her size. I mean, she can get up as high as 155. I believe she said that in The Ultimate Fighter as well. If I'm not mistaken, she also says she gets higher than that sometimes, which is why she missed weight in the finals. She was supposed to be in the finals, but she missed weight. And that's a big thing looking into this one. More weight behind the shots, and she is explosive as it is. She has excellent high kicks, great long punches. She is more distance-oriented than Lauren Murphy, but Murphy's longer. So that's interesting. But Murphy likes to fight close, just generally, against anybody. So I think it's going to play into Sijara Eubanks' favor, even on the feet. And she has legitimate one-shot knockout power, like you saw in The Ultimate Fighter. And you go Lauren Murphy, like I said, likes to fight in close, likes to make it a dirty fight, make it as untechnical on the feet as possible, just let off a lot of output. You know, she likes to just keep throwing on the feet, find her range, find her angles, and then explode with just volume. But the biggest thing here is, will she take down Sijara Eubanks? Because she likes to go with takedowns sometimes and use her ground and pound and just be ferocious in there. Just be violent. I think there's going to be some hesitation looking at Sijara Eubanks' BJJ experience and her skills on the bottom. So that's going to be a big thing for Lauren Murphy's game. Is going to be thrown away, which is going to give Eubanks a giant advantage here. Now, on the feet, it's going to be pretty close, I think. So my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go with Sijara Eubanks. I'm going to go by a decision. I see it being a pretty close fight, but if Sijara Eubanks takes down Lauren Murphy, good luck. That's going to be extremely tough for Murphy to get out of. Then we go to John Volante versus Sam Alvey. By far the most untechnical fight on the card, but the funnest fight on the card. So you got two just slug it out in your face, powerful punchers. John Volante is the better kicker. He has better footwork. He's the more athletic fighter, which is interesting because Sam Alvey is coming up to light heavyweight. Now, if you're fighting someone who's bigger than you and he's faster than you, and he's better footwork than you, and he's more athletic than you, it's going to be tough. But even though Volante's bigger and longer, he tends to get into these short-range exchanges with opponents, like you saw with Shogun Rua. He's not the best with distance management, but if he can keep the distance, he's going to throw out some leg kicks and head kicks at you, but he doesn't set them up, so it's going to be a little bit easier to evade them. But the thing about this one is Sam Alvey doesn't check kicks, he doesn't move too much, he just plods and he leaves himself open for leg kicks, and that's a big thing. If Jean Volante could get even one leg kick in there, it's going to hinder a lot of Sam Alvey's game later on in the fight. And Sam Alvey is a better counter striker. He likes to shoulder roll with things like you saw against Mutanche. He has heavy hands as well, but he doesn't do anything else too much. He'll try to just cash the opponent, draw him into countering them. And when it comes to the wrestling and the grappling, neither are going to take down the other. Both their takedown defenses are amazing as it is. And you can look at the numbers, their accuracy are just atrocious. So my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go with Jean Volante. I think he has more weapons. I think the leg kick's going to be a big thing here. And I think he can keep his distance if he game plans for it correctly. So I see him winning by a first or second round knockout. Then we go to Jake Ellenberger versus Ben Saunders. Now, these two guys have been long in the tooth. I mean, they've taken some big damage in their careers. I don't think either of them are going to take a big shot from the other. Jake Ellenberger is a more explosive striker, but he's a bit shorter than Ben Saunders. He's going to have a big reach disadvantage here. But Saunders doesn't use his reach to great extent past his kicks. You know, if you get past those kicks of his, he's so vulnerable, especially with his boxing. I mean, he doesn't retract the punches effective enough. So the overhands are going to be open for Ellenberger as he explodes into them. Ellenberger's leg kicks are going to be powerful as well. His takedown defense is going to be too much for Ben Saunders. I think he could take down Ben Saunders, but I don't think he wants to. Ben Saunders has an insanely dangerous guard game, mission control, trains on 10th planet, elbows over the top, good omoplatas, good high guard game, and just insanely hard to get out of that. But on the feet is where I think it's going to be for most of the fight, if not the entire fight. In the clinch, I think is where Saunders is going to have his biggest advantages. Good knees and good elbows, uses his height advantage there. But my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go Jake Ellenberger. I think the overhands are going to catch him. I don't think Ben Saunders is going to be defensive enough for those, especially when Ellenberger just blitzes on him with those. And I don't think there's any counter shot from Ben Saunders to keep Ellenberger at bay or keep him guessing. So I'm going to go with Ellenberger. I'm going to go by a first round knockout. Then we go to Gregor Gillespie versus Vince Pickle. Now, Gregor Gillespie is by far, I think, the biggest prospect in the lightweight division. You want to talk about wrestling? 4-time NCAA Division I All-American, 2007 World Champion. He was an All-American as a freshman. That is insane. But the most important thing is, did it translate? And man, did it translate. He controls everybody with his wrestling. He's so explosive with his takedowns. He's technical with them as well. He's good at turning angles on them, moving them one way and then taking them down the other way. Excellent double legs and excellent single legs. And if he can get you to the cage, it's going to be so hard to get him off you. And on the ground, he has excellent ground and pound, excellent submissions. Submissions that really relate to wrestling, like arm triangles and stuff. And coincidentally, most of his submission wins are by arm triangle. But the biggest thing is, he is so good with stopping transitions of the opponent. And he's constantly working on top, trying to get the better position. But he is really good at settling with his ground and pound. And on the feet, he is very textbook with his striking, especially his boxing. He'll throw some leg kicks there and there, but it's his boxing. He's a textbook perfectionist when it comes to that. Just fundamentals and basics. Stepping with the jab, hands always up, go with the 1-2-3, go with the left hooks with counters. And he always tries to end it with his left hand too. I mean, just basics. It's all it is. And that's going to give a lot of problems for Pickle here because Pickle is so wild on the feet. He'll just wing out punches at you, even going backwards. It could be dangerous, but it could be predictable. Gillespie's defensive boxing is going to be more than enough, I think, for Pickle here. And Pickle's biggest thing is he tries to go for the takedowns. I mean, in 2 of his UFC fights, he was successful with 8 takedowns. I don't think it's going to work at all on Gillespie. I think that whole game of Pickle is going to be thrown out the window. And that's a big thing coming into this one. So my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go Gregor Gillespie. I'm going to go by a second round TKO due to ground and pound. And then we go to the main event. Jimmie Rivera versus Marlon Moraes. This is a very important fight for the Bantamweight division. I think the winner of this gets the title shot. Both these guys are very well-rounded. By far the most technical fighters on this entire card. You got Jimmie Rivera, who is the smaller fighter, but he does have power. He's faster than most of the fighters in this division. And he's athletic as well, and he has insanely good cardio. He is excellent with in and out movements, and he's very hard to get a hold of because of this. He rarely gets hit clean at all. Just because of his movement and his speed, he'll enter with a 1-2, exit immediately. Very good with blitzing, very good with leg kicks as well. His leg kicks are very powerful, like you saw against Uriah Faber. He's impossible to take down, 100% takedown defense. And his takedowns, although they aren't the best, they aren't the most accurate, they aren't the most effective, if he could take you down, he is excellent at controlling, excellent with ground and pound, excellent at seeking for position for submissions. And Marlon Moraes has an excellent takedown defense game as it is, so I don't see this really going to the ground unless it's later in the fight, which is the key thing here, because I think Moraes is going to gas out later in the fight. I think for the first 3 or so rounds, he's going to be pretty solid, he's going to be fresh, but then the explosions that he always commits with is eventually going to have a drawback. But for Marlon Moraes, he's an excellent counter striker, explosive, more Muay Thai than anything else, excellent leg kicks as well, and he's good with checking them. So that's a big thing for Rivera. If he can land those leg kicks, or they're going to get checked. Because Moraes, even off his checks, he will counter you heavy. He'll explode with those hooks over the top. He's excellent with uppercuts as well. Excellent with setting things off the jab and getting you to throw at him off of his own jab and then counter you there. Excellent body kicks as well. Excellent head kicks. The biggest thing here is he doesn't set up things as well as Rivera does. I see a lot of throwing and missing going on with Moraes here. But then again, like I said, the cardio is going to be a big thing for Moraes. If he can keep up with Rivera, can he catch the faster fighter, moving around everywhere, in and out movements, doesn't commit in every exchange. You know, Rivera's very hard to time. He's very hard to figure out in there. And that's the biggest thing going on for Moraes here. So my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go with Jimmie Rivera. I'm going to go by a 5th round knockout or a decision. I see Moraes gassing out after constantly exploding. I see Rivera mixing up takedowns just to gas out the bigger man. And he has that explosive style as it is. That's going to be taxing as well. So those are my predictions, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe. My next video is going to be the podcast. It's going to come out tomorrow, so I did leave a post in my community tab. If any of you guys want to know where you could post your questions, there's a post right there, and you can reply your questions under there. The questions with the most likes get read first, and Twitter questions get read before YouTube questions. And if you want to tweet me any questions, just hashtag MMA meeting, and you can find the link to that in my description box of every video. And then my video after that, I was originally going to upload my technique video on hooks. Specifically, it's about 3 different hooks that you can throw, and what is the differences between those 3 hooks. They're the most generally used hooks in all combat sports, and why you would throw one and not the other, and where they work and where they don't work, all that kind of stuff. But then this whole thing with Michael Bisping's retirement came out, so instead of the technique video, I'm going to try to get out a new legacy video. So it's been a while for another in the series of the legacy videos to come out. But if you guys want me to upload the technique hook video first, just comment that below. I'm just curious to see what all you guys think. It doesn't matter to me personally, but I'm just thinking that's what you guys want more. If you guys want the legacy video first, or if you guys want the technique hook video first, leave it in the comments below. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.